Hi, and welcome back. Attorney Steve Vondran. Welcome to another exciting video here. We are talking in this video about free speech rights, in particular on the campus. Okay, so here's a case that we have for you, and we are talking about Burch versus the University of Hawaii. Okay, so Steve Vondran here. This is general legal information only and not legal advice or a substitute for legal advice. I hope you guys are all having a great Sunday. Let's get down to it here. So when you're bringing a free speech claim, one of the ways you may do it is through what we call a declaratory judgment action, okay, a complaint for declaratory judgment. That's where you're filing a complaint. The federal court, in this case, is the Federal District Court of Hawaii, saying my rights have been deprived, my First Amendment free speech, freedom of speech rights have been deprived on the campus or elsewhere. This could be other places where you have free speech rights. And this isn't right. I've been silenced. I'm not happy with this. What can I do about it? So one way to do it is a civil action for violation of 42 USC, that's United States Code, Section 1983. Okay, let's take a quick look at that here. Right there. Every person who under color of any statute, ordinance, regulation, custom, or usage of any state or territory or the District of Columbia, D.C., subjects or causes to be subjected any citizen of the United States or other person, so this could be free speech rights apply not only to citizens but also others. And you may also see that in the 14th Amendment that talks about the Constitution applying to persons and not necessarily to citizens, within the jurisdiction thereof, to deprivation of any rights, privileges, or immunities, privileges, or immunities secured by the Constitution and laws shall be liable to the other in a suit at law or equity. Okay, so here you have it. So here you have the 42 USC. And let's go over this case real quick. Now, just so you know, if you bring an action under this section, the prevailing party is entitled to their attorney fees. So you want to, not entitled to, but entitled to request. The court may, not shall, the court may award expert and attorney fees to prevailing parties, so expert witness fees and whatnot. And that's under 42 USC 1988, sections B and C. All right, let's get down to the case. Here's the case on point. I've got just some of the key highlights here for you real quick. Burch versus University of Hawaii. There's your case number, district court. This was University of Hawaii prevented a student organization called YAL, we'll get to it in a second, from handing out copies of the Constitution, said it violated the school policy. Okay, so here's some excerpts from the complaint that was filed by the firm that filed the complaint. And this case involves Young Americans for Liberty, YAL, Young Americans for Liberty, a registered independent student organization, a RISO as it was called. YAL is these were the allegations. YAL is a pro-liberty organization with more than 500 chapters and 162,000 youth activists on America's college campuses nationwide. Its mission is to identify, educate, train, and mobilize young people committed to winning on principle. So not exactly sure what that means, but there you have it. If you want to look it up, you can go look it up. Here were some of the other allegations from January 14th to January 16th, 2-day period there, 2.5. Miss Burch and other members of the UH Hilo YAL chapter participated in a university-sponsored event that was designed to introduce campus students to UH Hilo's various student organizations. So this is when they all line up the tables and say, here's all the things we have, all the different organizations that you can join and get involved in and make your campus life more enriching. That's the whole concept. So YAL and other student groups, they congregated at these tables set up in the campus center plaza, a concrete patio located near the main entrance of the campus. This is known as tabling, allowing student groups to display information about their activities and speak with students. Whoa, that's what we just got done talking about. So when they arrived at the campus center plaza, they found out that the only available table that could accommodate their banner was in the corner of the plaza, removed from the main flow of pedestrian traffic. So they noticed they weren't getting any traffic. They were like, hey, we're way over here. Everybody else is over there. And we're not getting any traffic. So about a half an hour before the end of the event, Miss Burch and the other YAL member became discouraged by the minimal number of students approaching the remote table and decided to engage students directly in the same way that they had seen other groups do during the day. For example, they saw someone selling chili tickets. So, but they were stopped, and one of the campus staff came up and said, go back, here we go back behind your table and wait for the students to come to you. These are the allegations. Go back behind your table, wait for the students to come to you. And so there was a little scuffle about that. Well, what? We see other people doing it. It's not about your rights in this case. It's about the university policy that you can't approach people. So this is what they're being told. So they're trying to hand out the Constitution, which is apparently part of what their group's about. Why you wouldn't want to let somebody hand out a Constitution, I don't know. I mean, half the cities you go into the United States, somebody's trying to hand you something. The university policy for events says that RESOs can't approach people. We run a diverse campus and people can feel intimidated. And it's like the students, just can't say no. Come on, college students, you just go like this. No thanks. Do it all the time. We have a free speech zone for students to use, and it's between the theater and the new student services building. So if you want to do that, she's saying go to the free speech zone. That's where you do it. The free speech zone is the only public location on campus where students may express themselves without obtaining university permission in advance. So there's really only one place on campus that you can express yourself without getting permission. I mean, that's pretty crazy to me. So we have here when Miss Burch expressed concern about the free speech zone being having minimal pedestrian traffic. They were told do some PR and advertising. This could be, you might be surprised at the amount of people that show up, they were told. This really isn't the 60s anymore. People can't really protest like that anymore. Times have really changed since the movement back then. So somebody was, so this whole concept that you can't have free speech and engage in conversation on the college campuses, it's not right. If they're state college funded, they're funded by the government, they can be seen as an arm of the government, and free speech rights can apply. The freedoms of speech, now here was kind of the final allegation, one of the allegations made and kind of the argument, the crux of it, that freedom of speech, assembly, that's the right to assemble, and petition must be zealously guarded because the college classroom with its surrounding environs is peculiarly the marketplace of ideas. So when we talk about the exchange of ideas, the marketplaces of ideas, the college campus is where you learn, probably for the first time in many people's lives, to exchange these ideas and concepts and raise your debates. And, a lot of times debate is what causes change. You hear two people arguing, one just doesn't make any sense, the other one makes sense, then this argument seems to prevail. It's the marketplace of idea, hashing it out in a civil manner, but sometimes, protest, as you can see, is pretty ugly sometimes. At any rate, recognizing the gravity of these principles, the United States Supreme Court has held that state colleges and universities are not enclaves immune from the sweep of the First Amendment. Great language. I love that. So eventually there was the declaratory judgment action was filed. There was several different allegations of a prior restraint. We'll talk about that in another video. What is a prior restraint? That the actions were overbroad, that they were vague and ambiguous, the policies of the university, and that as applied, it was just unconstitutional. So at the end of the day, what we see is it looks like they settled for $50,000, and the University of Hawaii agreed to fix its policies. And I think part of that was training its employees that, it's not the 60s anymore, but people still have the right to express themselves in various ways. All right, so that's it. I've got some more information here for you below if you're looking for information. Here's a good resource for you, thefire.org. Thefire.org, they track various college campus policies and give them different ratings, green light or red light, yellow light. So that's a good place to go if you're having if you're wanting to know more about your particular college. And I have my video. Actually, did I forget to put it here? I have a good video on, you can check it out on my YouTube channel, Attorney Steve, Dazzle Your Friends with First Amendment. It's a great video if you want to just get a quick overview of the First Amendment and some of the exceptions to it. But here you have it. If you have any questions, need help with your free speech rights, declaratory judgment actions, anti-SLAPP motions, things like that, anything in the area of First Amendment, give us a ring. We're happy to talk to you and see if you have any rights or if you need to assert those rights. Okay? Attorney Steve Vondran, thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your Sunday, and we'll talk again. Bye now.